I want attacking, purposeful football all the time. Now we're going to have backs against the wall and we're going to fight, and we're going to fight hard. You've got to show me all the guts and all the determination you've got in your body. You've got to inspire me.
A marvellous kick. That's as good as you'll ever see. And puts Graham back in front.
I don't know about you guys, but if I see one bloke walking out of here, give the pat on the back from people out there for a good effort, I'll spew up.
From inside the centre square, Boyd kicked the goal. Boyd kicked the goal from inside the centre.
Hey Pack, welcome to Danny Boyd, a podcast about the most exciting, the most wonderful, the most brilliant, the most perfect football club in the multiverse. That is the Footscray Football Club, Proprietary Limited. They trade as Western Bulldogs. Tom Boyd is out. He's on right now. He's in Denmark. I assume eating some sort of herring, drinking vodka, whatever it is Danish people do, not showing emotions and building Lego. So we will have a series of guest Toms throughout the finals campaign as we march on to the final Saturday in September, which we're daring to dream a little bit. We're not sure. Anyway, my name's Danny McGinley. Guest Tom this week. Who else would we kick off with but the third Danny Boyd member, Chas Licciardello. Welcome back, my friend.
Thank you so much, Danny. I've got a pretty good idea where Tom is. When someone heads to Europe at this time of the season, it's for an emergency hamstring surgery or knee surgery from some quack doctor in Germany. That's what's going on. I've got no doubt.
Well, that did work famously for Nick Malcheski at the Swans. He got, and he came back and kicked the winning goal in the grand final, I believe.
There you go.
2012.
And he's probably in a wheelchair today, but it was worth it. It was worth it.
Man, Hawthorn lost that grand final. That is absolutely worth it. First of all, we should acknowledge the terrible news that has gone on in Melbourne. Has it made news in Sydney? The horrible death of Sam Landsberger?
No, I didn't know this at all. Oh, my God.
Oh, shit. Sorry to be the guy to tell you. Yeah, he was hit by a truck yesterday and
Jesus.
Died in hospital. Yes, of course, Sam, his father was Jake Landsberger, who was the doctor at the Bulldogs for many years. Yeah, so Melbourne's sort of the front page of the Herald Sun, all of the SEN and Fox Footy podcasts have been acknowledged it, and we should just acknowledge it here. I never met Sam, but I was a fan of his work. And as you can see from Chaz's reaction, this is he was quite a well-respected journo.
Totally. He was one of the very few people in the media who didn't have it in for us, which was lovely.
Because it helped because he was a Dogs fan.
Yeah. And a genuinely excellent journo. So, yeah, that's horrible.
There you go. There's a live reaction of so you know often when people die there is a bit of lip service, but there's Chaz's real reaction, my friends.
I am absolutely dead serious. I mean, because when you usually hear about someone dying, they're usually 75, and you go, well, I haven't heard of this person doing anything for the last 30 years. But yeah, Sam, that's a real shock.
He was only 35. Yeah, it's a real, very sad. So I believe the Dogs will have the black armbands this week, and hopefully it fires us up for the big game against the Giants. Well, putting aside the sadness of that, how are you, Chas? Because I'll tell you how I am. I'm an absolute ball of nerves. And I have been ever since Sunday night. Like, I enjoyed beating the Kangaroos. I was enjoying how much of a dickhead footy fan I am, in that on the way in on Sunday to Marvel Stadium, I was going, I'm not sure about North Melbourne. Oh, God, this is a real potential banana peel here. And then halfway through the third quarter, I'm going, yeah, but it's only North Melbourne. I can't take this win seriously. I'm not allowing myself any joy at all. And I'm very nervous because we got the Giants who are in form, and it's looking like we'll have to play Hawthorn. And, constant listeners will know I despise Hawthorn. And the thought of losing to them again in a final just it fills me with Hulk rage. So how are you, Chas? You're a bit more logical and less emotional than me. Where are you at?
Look, I must admit, I've got the trepidations myself. I've kind of been... because as you say, I like to think of things logically, and I like to approach my footy in a dispassionate fashion, which is exactly the way you're not meant to approach footy. That's how I like to do it. And so for that reason, I've kind of been I've kind of been hating myself since basically the Geelong win, because all this season I was in a very happy place where I had no hope whatsoever. I just thought it seemed inevitable to me that we were cruising on to come about 10th and to not have our top draft pick, and I would just be crabby all off season. And I could see it coming, stretching before us. But when we beat Geelong was the moment I thought, oh my God, this could actually happen. Because I'd totally given up at that point in time. Like at that point in time, it was like, we've got to win. Yeah, we've got to beat basically the 3 top teams to even stand a chance of making the top 8 now. And so I just gave up. But then we actually beat the top 3 teams.
Yeah.
And since then I've been, nervous. Because I don't like to be superstitious, but there are just so many parallels with 2016. It's very hard to ignore. Honestly, you look at the ladder and it's just, are they taking the piss? Like, we've got the Swans who are going to be top of the ladder, which they were in 2016.
Yes.
There's every chance they're playing Geelong in the first final.
Yes.
Which they did in 2016.
Yes.
The other
Hang on, no.
GWS
In 2016, the Swans played GWS in the first final and lost.
Oh, sorry. So it's Geelong they played in the second final. So
played. I think they beat Geelong in the prelim.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I know they beat Geelong. Yeah, but that's
did.
coming
Easily.
You got GWS, and if we meet GWS, we're going to meet them in Sydney.
Yes.
As well, just like that. And to get there, we got to go through Hawthorn, which we also did in 2016 as well. And so there's just so many 2016 parallels. You know, it's hard not to notice.
Yeah.
I hate noticing it. I hate it.
I've been noticing, as Boydie has said, we're actually not that similar to 2016, because this point in 2016 we were losing games, we were getting people injured, we were limping over the line against Essendon's reserves team, because remember they couldn't have any players for that year, and we were about to lose to Freo in this final game in a very unconvincing match, whereas we've sort of had our unconvincing game with Adelaide, and now we need to win. We'd already locked in finals at this point in 2016. But yeah, you make a very good point with the teams we're going to get. And just to go to your other point about how much the season has changed. So a friend of mine and friend of yours, Venezuelan comedian Ivan Aristeguieta. Yeah. For those who don't know, you might have seen him on Have You Been Paying Attention on the Comedy Festival Gala. He is, lived in Australia about 10 years now. He moved to Melbourne, and I've convinced him to go for the Bulldogs, or as he calls them, Los Perros Toros. And he comes to about one game a year. And look, he's not a passionate fan. I took him to the Lions game where they beat us pretty easily. And then I saw him just past weekend, and he was like, hey, how are our dogs going? And I've told him, yeah, we're up and about. And he's like, really? But you said at the Lions game that we weren't going to do anything this year. You said that I didn't have to worry. And now we're winning. And now you're nervous about playing the bottom team? What is wrong with you? And so it just, it's such a different vibe of the last month, and how quickly we can turn as footy fans from, oh, no, we're not going to win. We're so extreme. It's all or nothing.
Well, the problem with the Dogs is that it so often is, even more so than other teams, because on our day, like when we're switched on, and we saw this in 2016, when we're switched on, we are literally unbeatable. There is literally not a team it's often unclear when two teams are at their best who would win. But with the Dogs, when they're at their best, they beat everyone, even at their best, because no one else gets the ball. When we're at our best, we just hog the ball, right? And so that's what happens when we're switched on. But when we're switched off, we can lose to anybody, and we can lose to and we can switch off, as we all remember, halfway through the third quarter. We can switch off at any point in time.
Is that a 2021 grand final reference?
That is the reference. I didn't want to say it, but I think we all knew what I was referring to.
Yeah, I just had to check.
But yeah, and so for that reason, there's a real feast or famine situation with the Dogs. And this is what was happening until the Crows game. You're going, with no other team you'd say this. With the Dogs, you'd say there's every chance we could just go on to smash every other team for the rest of the year, because we've done it before. We can do it. We're capable of it. But then we could switch off against North Melbourne. We could switch off at any time.
Yep.
And so it's so frustrating.
I will say this about us this year. When we are good, we're good for usually the whole game. And when we're bad for the whole game. There hasn't been switching off. Like from the Crows, from the get-go, we were awful. And So I got to say, when with that in mind, the opening 3 minutes of the North Melbourne game, like whenever they got possession, I'm like, oh, is this us for the whole game? Are we doomed? Are we dead here? Oh God. It just feels like I know within 10 minutes if we're going to win or lose.
Yeah, look, I think that's a fair observation. We do play out games these days, and that's a nice change. But if we start not so well, not such a nice change.
No. And I'm just not sure how to. Anyway, all right. So I'll give you the news that's going on. Look, we as a podcast, we're not pro betting. Do you ever gamble, Chas? You probably don't.
No. I experimented in the federal election of 2013, on betting large amounts of money on absolute easy seats, like Peter Garrett, for instance, who was in the safest seat in the country.
Yeah,
I put like $5,000 on his seat.
Wow.
Knowing that I'd only make, $100 or $200, but he literally couldn't lose. Like I put the money on the day before the election, so even if there was some scandal, he'd still win. And so I experimented with that for a while, but it was more trouble than it was worth. But apart from that, no.
Yeah, no, I'm not a gambler either, but I'm not completely anti-gambling. You know, this isn't a political podcast. I put on about one bet a year, and it's usually I did put on a bet this year on a rugby league game, and that's because I was stuck in Sydney. And I just went to a pub and there was no real footy on. So I think the Dolphins were playing who cares? And I just put money on the game so I would make it interesting. And I won I put a tenner on it. I won 13. So, but anyway, but the one handy thing that the complete dominance of gambling in modern sports conversation is, the odds are a good indicator of form. Now, for us to miss finals, if you put on a multi for everything that needs to happen for us to make top 4, you would win about $113 for all of those things to go right. And that's with, $1 gets you $113. If you put on a multi for everything to happen for us to miss finals altogether, $10.
Yeah, well, that makes sense because there's no way that Geelong's going to lose to West Coast at home, which is what you need for us to make the top 4. But for us to, this is actually, this is quite nerve-wracking that we can easily miss the finals, because Carlton just need to beat St Kilda and Hawthorn need to beat North, and we need to lose. We need to lose in a game that we lost last year.
What about Freo and Port? That's a factor as well, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, you're right. Freo and Port. Yeah. Oh, well, actually, no, because Freo's 9th.
Yeah. But if we lose and Freo win and Carlton and Hawthorn win,
Freo gives us one more way we can miss out of the 8. But what I'm saying is, without Freo, if Carlton and Hawthorn win against their extremely winnable games and we lose, we're out of the 8.
Yeah. Now, Carlton, I'm going to correct you there. Carlton's game is not winnable. St Kilda are both up and about. Like they dominated the Cats last week. It was pretty impressive. Okay, and Carlton are broken. That football club is just gone. They are all injured. I think even Vossi's done his ACL. They don't have either of their full forwards. I'm feeling much more comfortable about St Kilda beating Carlton than Port beating Freo, even though Port are smashing it at the moment. Yeah, literally.
Okay. Well, then in that case,
of Houston,
even if we lose, we'd come 8th. So that would be good news.
Yeah.
But then we go to Brisbane for the first final, and that wouldn't be good news.
I'm glad you brought that up. Now, I wanted to point something out to our listeners that I think is very odd about you. I mean, you're an odd unit anyway, Chas. First time we ever hung out. I'm sure I've told this on the pod. You said, "Hey, I'd love to go to a Bulldogs game." This is pre me doing banners or anything. This is just 2 comedians hanging out. I was like, "Oh, sweet, yeah, I've seen that guy on the TV. He's a Dogs fan. I'd love to hang out with him." I was sitting there eating, a bag of twisties, and you pulled out a bulb of fennel and just ate raw fennel at the footy.
Nature's licorice. It's beautiful.
So you're an odd unit. Now, my bottom 3 teams in the AFL would be Collingwood, Richmond and Hawthorn. They're my 3 least favourite. Melbourne, GWS, they're always around due to seasonality. But your most hated team is very odd because I don't know anyone else who hates this team. The Brisbane Lions.
I detest them. I detest them with a fury you couldn't even imagine.
Oh, I can. I can imagine the fury. I lived through the Hawthorn three-peat.
Yeah, okay. Well, that fury, yeah. I hate Brisbane so much, and it's because of the way they treat the Dogs. I mean, look, I hate lots of things about them. I hate a lot of their players, but I would not hate them nearly as much if they hadn't bent us over on the Dunkley trade. I resent that so much. I'm not just talking about the fact that we didn't get value for Dunkley, which we didn't. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that there's an expectation. I think there's a gentleman's agreement, I feel, in the trade period that everyone just does what they're expected to do and everyone has a sense of value and no one tries to bend over other teams, generally speaking. Like, Essendon try, but most teams usually just respect. They understand the rules. Like when a player is going, you're going to get less if they're out of contract. They understand that, right? If a player's in contract, you're going to get more for it. They understand that kind of stuff. Now Brisbane, in that one trade period, tried to trade in essentially they tried to get the number one pick essentially from father-son.
Yeah.
At the same time as trying to get a top tenner from father-son. At the same time as trying to get a star Hawthorn forward. At the same time as trying to get our best and fairest. And they expected to do all that without giving away any players, without giving away any top draft picks in other drafts. It was just ridiculous. What they expected was unreasonable. And then they exploited the fact that he was out of contract with us to bend us over in an extreme way so they could make their other deals work. And I resent that so much. I will never forgive them because honestly,
do you remember what we got?
I hate a team. I hate them for a long time.
Do you remember?
So
do you remember what we
got?
got?
I want every one of those players to be gone and retired before I stop hating Brisbane.
Do you know what we got for Josh Dunkley?
What? Remind me.
We got pick 21.
Yes.
And we had to give away a first rounder, a fourth rounder, and a second rounder in the year later. None of those picks were used, by the way.
Yeah.
This is according to Draft Guru.
Let's put it in the context of Richmond giving two top teners for players that were significantly worse than Josh Dunkley. Let's just put that in context.
Which players are you talking about there? You can name names. Boydie ain't here.
It's okay. It's okay. But yeah, my point is, we really got bent over by them. And the worst part was when we were trying to, once again, a gentleman's agreement. When Team A offers not quite enough to Team B usually says, okay, let's just wait till the end of the trade period and let's have this out then. We did that with Brisbane, and then Brisbane just traded away their top draft pick that we were negotiating about. So it was off the table and then offered us even shittier options, which is just so not right.
So why did we take it? Because we had to, didn't we? Because Dunkley wanted out.
Yeah, we had to because our contract.
Yeah,
and honestly, if I don't want to fill the whole podcast with this, but I was so angry about this. If I was the Bulldogs, I totally would have said to Josh Dunkley, "You can go to Port, who he also said he was interested in at one point in time, and we'll negotiate a proper deal with them." Or you can go to North Melbourne for nothing because there's no way we're going to take this bullshit from the Lions. I was so angry. Like I still am.
I love you using North as like a punishment. It's like, go to your room. You will go to North Melbourne. Exactly. Don't think I won't do it. Yes. Well, so you would rather us knock out the Lions in that first week?
Oh my God. I would love so much for us to knock the Lions out, but I would prefer to give us the maximum chance of winning the grand final, and the maximum chance of winning the grand final, I think, is to play Hawthorn rather than to play Brisbane at the Gabba.
No, okay. So let's talk about my fear of Hawthorn. Like Hawthorn, they haven't lost in like forever. They lost.
I know.
They're really up and about.
Who started their run of form?
Was it Port?
No, it was us.
What? Back
We're the ones who started their run of form.
That was in May. That was a long time ago.
I know, but I know they lost after playing us, but they got a lot better during our game, and then they were like, remember the start of the season they were terrible.
Yeah, 0-5.
Then they played us,
great.
and we played them into a decent team, and then they won and lost a few, and then they became what they are a few weeks after that. But we're the ones who started their form, right? And so no one knows better than us about where Hawthorn's at. We're not going to take them for granted, that's for sure. And I reckon I have no. Once again, like I said to you before, Danny, if we're on, they're toast. We just need to be on. So I'm really interested in this GWS game to see if we're on or not.
Yeah. I'm just the really annoying thing is even if we finish fifth, or if we're playing Hawthorn, we're playing them on their home deck. It's like the classic interstate club thing.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of people haven't realised, but there hasn't been a final played at Docklands Marvel Stadium since 2007. Ironically, Hawthorn's home game. They played the Crows. Buddy kicked the winner. They have not played a single finals game there, which is just ridiculous. I would love to play a final at Marvel.
It totally is. I mean, Marvel is a quantifiably different experience for a team than MCG. So we should totally play there. It's not like it's a small ground, but it is what it is.
I was listening to SEN just earlier today, and it looks like our likely path if we're going full optimism and we're going all the way.
Yeah.
We'd have to play the Hawks at MCG, then we'd stay in Melbourne, and we'd probably play Geelong at the MCG. Now, any Bulldogs fan older than 12 will know the fear of playing Geelong in finals. Like even in my life, we have lost to them 4 times. Yes, I think that's it. 4. There might be more, but let me know. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's 4 times. They just always seem to, there's always a constant fear. Then we play the Swans at the SCG.
Yeah,
which is fine. We only win prelim finals interstate, and then we'd play whoever at the MCG. So it's not that bad for travel.
Yeah, no, that's not that bad for travel. Oh man, honestly, you're so right about Geelong, though. I mean, what I'd say probably the worst experience in my life watching footy, like in terms of at a ground. And this is, bear in mind, I watched the preliminary final in 1997. In an Adelaide pub. Oh. Okay, so just bearing that in mind.
That's right.
That was a bad experience. Yep. The worst experience was, I think it might have been, it was either 2006 or 2007. I think it was 2007 when we played Geelong. It wasn't in the final. It was during the season. We were just starting to become good.
Okay.
And it maybe it was in 2008. It was one of those years. It was about round 7 or 8. And we were becoming a genuinely good team. Okay. And I began to hope. I began to think, oh my God, this like Rocket Eid. It was exciting. Eid was going crazy, and I go, oh my God, we actually are in this. We actually could be a good team. We were a shit team not too long ago. We're about to be a good team. And then we came up against Geelong, and they beat us by like 1,000,000 points. It was over halfway through the first quarter. Yeah. And I went down to Melbourne to watch that game. And it was over. It was over in like 5 minutes, and we were not the same for the rest of that season. We never seemed even close to being good enough after that, and it was just devastating.
Yeah.
And we beat them. We beat them on their home deck only a few weeks ago.
Man, we've beaten them twice in a row, and then I can't even remember the last time. I think that last happened in like 03, 04 when we were terrible. We just managed to knock them off. But yeah, it's just, I mean, remember 2016, Geelong were the only team we couldn't beat. They beat us just at Cardinia when half our team were injured. And then we played them at Docklands. They smashed us. It was over halfway through the first quarter.
Yeah.
It's very odd what happens with Geelong and us. But so, I mean, it's looking, that's the mega optimism we've got. I mean, all right, so Ash is out for the GWS game. His suspension got held up. We're without Riley West, who went. So that incident where he broke his jaw happened right in front of me, and everyone was a bit surprised he was being taken off, subbed off. But I saw it, and it looked like, he got done in the face. So you'd take him off and we were well ahead at that stage. So it was a good time to manage someone.
On TV, it looked nasty. It looked nasty on TV.
Yeah.
But having said that, he's been in terrible form for a couple of weeks now. And I wasn't sure if he was taken off for concussion or if he was taken off he was subbed off, because he wasn't having a good game, and he didn't have a good game last week. And I don't think he had a great game the week before either. He's been hitting some bad form, which worries me, because I think he's one of our most underrated players. I think he's really important. I think he is essentially the connection between our midfield and our forwards. Like he's a really important player, I think.
Yeah, and he does that. He's a bit like he's a little whippet. He's like Cody Waitman and Lath. He just he's a smaller player, but he's got the bit of mongrel behind him. I disagree. He's been out of form. I think just other players have been so dominant. He hasn't had to lift so much, is my understanding. But we were saying off air. I mean, who else is injured? Tim English probably won't play, which means Lob is hurt as well. Lob looked in severe pain during the Kangaroos game. I'm not sure what's wrong with him. He's not officially on the injury list, so they're going to make him do something. Maybe he's gone to Denmark with Boydie, but just from hearing, I mean, I'm biased towards Ruckman now because I do the pod with Boydie, and he talks about how it's the hardest position in footy and everyone monsters you. So I'm worried about him having to face up against GWS. But I'm just getting all the negativity out of the way. I mean,
sure.
What is there anyone else you're worried about? I mean, Jesse Hogan's in great form. We chuck Liam Jones on him, but they've got so many other options, and they're fast and they're strong and they believe. Adam Kingsley has got them believing.
Yeah. Look. I mean, they're playing well. In terms of concerns, I've got two other concerns. Other than, I mean, if Riley West was playing, I would have cited him as my number one concern because of the game against Adelaide. I mean, I know I take it. I understand you don't agree, but I was worried about his play against Adelaide.
Okay.
But the other two players who I've been worried about recently. One will not surprise you is Buku Kamas, who the other teams are starting to play through at the moment.
Well, Adelaide did. I wouldn't say that. Yeah, but that was just Fogarty. I mean, he was a bit sort of he was the wrong body type almost.
I was going to say. I feel like. I mean, I'm not down on him at all. I just feel like we need to play him smart. Like he's very good at what he can do, but what he can't do is be a muscle defender. He just can't.
Yeah.
Right. And so the other teams are clearly trying to line up strong forwards against him, and we just need to be smarter than that. And if we're not, we can't play him because he can't play that role.
Oh no,
and
no,
so
I wouldn't
I'm concerned
drop him
about
at all.
that.
But
so what?
I wouldn't drop him or anything. But
I'm not saying. Like I said, I'm not having a go at him. I think we just need to be smart to make sure that the other team doesn't put their massive lump of a forward on him and play through him, because that's what they've been trying to do.
Yeah.
But the other one who I'm actually most concerned about, and this is a name that you wouldn't hear many people say, but I'm genuinely concerned about Libba at the moment. I think he's been in really poor form recently. For Libba. I mean, it's not like you drop him or anything, but just like by his standards, like he's been missing kicks, like missing targets, which he never used to do. That's been very rare for Libba. He's an underrated kick, I think. I think it's a really good kick.
Yeah.
He's been missing targets. His chasing has not been as good as it used to be. Like he's getting run away from by players at the moment. And I think our other midfielders have been covering for him a bit, which is, it's a nice change. Usually he's covering for everyone else. But in this case, I think people like Garcia are covering for him defensively, because I think that they're breaking tackles on Libba, which I never thought I would say. I don't know if he's injured. I don't know if there's something going on, but the last few games I've been worried about him, and because I don't think our best form is possible without Libba. He's such a key part of the team. And so, I mean, I'm hoping that he's not injured, and just when the whips are cracking, he'll come good, because he always does. But this does happen with Libba sometimes. I remember 2 years ago. In fact, sitting in a pub with you 2 years ago. I think it was against Adelaide, when we lost to Adelaide in
Ballarat by a point.
In Ballarat, yeah. And I remember at the time going, geez, I'm worried about Libba. Is he getting old? And just thinking, because I knew he was only 28 or 29, but I thought he's just had such a tough career, with so many injuries and so much. He plays so tough. I thought maybe he was getting ground down. But then about 3 weeks later, he just snapped out of it, and he was just incredible again. And then he actually hit career best form. So, I mean, it may happen again, but I am concerned that the last few weeks that he's actually been, I think, almost a weak link in our midfield.
Wow.
And I think that he was part of the problem in Adelaide, to be honest.
Okay.
So he's the one I'm most worried about. We need him.
There's the negativity out of the way. I would be surprised if Libba wasn't carrying a niggle, just from the way he plays, and this is the end of the year, and everyone's injured at this point. Boydie has taught us that everyone in the league is injured. So I would be very surprised if Libba was pain-free at the moment. All right, let's talk about positives.
Let's talk about positives.
All right, this is the first positive I've got. This is the forecast for Ballarat.
Yes.
It will be, for majority of the game, about 16 degrees and raining.
Raining?
So it's rain. Well, yeah, there's a 35% chance of rain, and all of it is pretty much whilst the game is on.
I like rain. I like rain a lot.
It rained a lot when we played GWS in was it Canberra? No, it was at whatever it's called now, Engie Spotless Giant Stadium.
Yeah.
You were at that game, weren't you?
No, I wasn't,
Oh,
but
okay.
I should have been.
Should have been. So it's close to your house. But it poured
Close
with
to
rain,
Melbourne.
and we thumped them, good and proper.
Oh, we're a good rain team. I like rain a lot. Because we're a pressure midfield. When we're playing well, we're a high pressure midfield.
Yeah.
High pressure midfields always win rain games. They're perfect.
And it's saying 8 millimeters total of.
Well, that's good news. I like that a
is
lot.
8 a lot? I should. I'm not.
Eight's a lot in 2 hours. I'll tell you that.
Oh no, it's 8 over the day. So
okay, well that's not so much. But if it's all concentrated, then that's a bit.
it'll go up to the highest temperature will be 18 degrees between 2 and 3. So that's like third and fourth quarter.
Yeah, look, I'll give you some positives. You want some positives?
Oh, hell yeah.
It's pretty easy to have positives. I mean,
Is it Sam Darcy?
well, not just Sam Darcy, all three forwards. We haven't seen all three. We haven't even seen, until recently, we didn't even see two forwards firing at the same time. It was always just one of them, and then one other wasn't working. And every time Norton got injured, then Jamara would step up, and then Norton would come back, and Norton would be okay, and Jamara would fall away. But the last month, they've all been going well, all of them.
Yep.
Like, especially if they kick straight, which is always the issue with us.
Yes.
But no, the forwards are incredible, and the thing is that GWS, more than any other team, relies on one defender. They rely on Taylor so hard.
Okay.
And so us having three tall forwards going at once, that's going to trouble them. That really is going to trouble them, assuming they all perform again.
And if you were Adam Kingsley, who are you putting Taylor on?
I'd probably put him on Jamara, I reckon.
Okay.
I reckon that I don't think Taylor would like Norton would just run him out of the 50. Norton's a very selfless player.
Yep.
And he would just run them out of the 50, and then Taylor would be useless. And good luck trying to mark Darcy. I don't think that's just a waste of time. So I'd put him on Jamara.
All right, let me ask you. Did you see this stat? Sam Darcy has won 24 contested possessions in the forward half in the past 2 weeks. The last time that has happened was never.
Wow.
25 years of champion data. No one has ever got 24 contested possessions in a forward half over 2 weeks.
That is the second never stat that we've had in recent form. Because did you hear the other one from a few weeks back, just before we lost against Adelaide? The 4 games before that, we had conceded less goals from turnovers than any other team in history. Champion data again, of course.
There we go. Yeah. Yes. I love how history began when champion data began.
Yes. Yeah. So we've got something to show for ourselves here. Like if we can recapture that form.
It's pretty good, and I sent you this stat during the week, but in case anyone forget it, the list of teams to have had a 3-game losing streak during the 2024 home and away season, I'll just save you a bit of time. There are 17 teams on that list. We are the only club in the league to have not lost 3 games on the trot this year.
Which is remarkable, because
Amazing.
We are the absolute captains of losing 4 games in a row in the middle of the season.
Yep.
So the fact that this season we didn't do that is amazing. We have been quite consistent.
And what's great is that stat can't be broken. We've won that now for the year, because if we lose 2 games, we're out.
That's true. That's
Might just lose 1.
So that's a positive. Can I give you a long-term positive for a second?
Please.
this is because this is the thing I'm most excited about. Like as you know, I've said this on this podcast as well. I've been quite nervous about the future, about our medium term. And when I say medium term, I mean like 2 years away, 3 years away.
Okay.
And the reason for that was because I saw the impending end of our midfield coming before us.
You did. You talked about it on this pod.
Yeah, totally. And I just didn't see where the replacements were coming from because we didn't have the draft picks coming. We had a big hole in the draft filled by Jamara and Sam Darcy, and so we were starting basically with zero midfielders in 4 years' time. The way I saw it, right, assuming Bailey Smith was going to go, and so and so I was really nervous about that because I was going. It takes 5 years to build a midfield. You don't just get 4 or 5 class midfielders out of nowhere all at once, and I was really worried about this. But I think credit to Bevo or the development or I don't know who, but credit to someone.
Spanger. We're always saying Spanger.
Maybe, but this year they've rebuilt on the fly in a really successful way. Ed Richards, he's as good as any midfielder could possibly be coming through.
I was talking about this with a mate at the game on Sunday. Ed Richards might be the most underrated Bulldog in recent history because everyone talks about Bond. Yep. And Treloar is such a feel-good story for everyone that no one has really noticed this gangly redhead with speed who is gone up into the elite level over the past month.
And you know what, Danny? He's getting better.
Yeah.
He's actually getting better.
Yeah.
I noticed the other day he started selling candy. He didn't used to do that. But he's starting to look like Daniel Kerr. Like he's starting in the phone box,
well, not physically, but I don't think there's not enough melanin being produced.
I'm talking about. Yeah. But yeah, he's incredible. He's just getting better and better. He's becoming a real extractor machine, like Libba style. But he's always been fast. He's always stuck a tackle. Like I know I've told you this many times before. I think his tackling's been underrated for a long time. But now. And he's always been a good kick, but now he's added into that this ability to extract the ball from the bottom of the pack, which he didn't used to have. He's added that this year, and he's just I would be surprised if he isn't an All-Australian midfielder next year. I think he's just getting better and better. So there's him, and he's got a few years ahead of him, so that's great.
Oh yeah.
Number 2, I could not be more excited about Joel Frazier. I reckon he is such a great player in the making.
Now, before you go on, Chas, there seems to be a divide in the Bulldogs support.
Really?
Are we calling him Smokin' Joel, or are we calling him Dr. Crane?
Well, I prefer Smoking Joel because
you're wrong.
I don't like calling anyone the doctor because then they're going to end up at Freo. The Fremantle doctor is just so...
No. But this is
tempting.
In case anyone doesn't know, it's a reference to Cheers, or if you like that lesser sitcom, Frasier.
Yes.
But no, I'm sticking with Dr. Crane. That's
fine. That's fine. I don't mind as long as he's playing for us.
Damn straight. But he's been amazing.
Yeah, he's incredible. Like the fact he's only an inch shorter than Bond.
Really?
And he's 191.
Wow.
He's 191. And by the way, he's still growing. He could end up 192. Like he's 191.
He's only 18. He's got 3 more years of growing.
He's 18. I'm not saying he's still growing because he's 18. I'm saying I know this year he has continued to grow. So he's for a fact he is still growing. His size for someone who's still growing. He's like his chest and his arms. He's going to be an absolute tank when he's fully grown.
Yeah.
Like that's obvious. He's one of the fastest people on our list as far as speed goes. He also, on top of that, he can also stick a tackle, which I like.
Yep.
And the other thing about him is, for an 18-year-old, he bites off more than he can chew over and over again with his kicks. Like he has turnovers, but I got no problems with that. I love his turnovers because they're turnovers because he's going for kicks. Right? He's got a real laser kick on him, and he goes for them. And I just reckon he is going to be a massive gun. I don't know how we got him at pick 45 or whatever it was, but I don't know what the knock on him was. Whatever it was wrong. Also, he's clearly learning as well. Like he's getting better all the time. So I have no doubt whatsoever he's going to be a staple of our midfield in about 2 years' time. So so we got him, and we got Ed Richards, and obviously got Riley Sanders is going to be a great player as well. Yeah, and so that's 3. We've gone from 0 to 3 in 1 year, and while we're contending, which is I couldn't be more pleased about that. Our forward line is obviously taken care of. They're all signed up, and everything's great.
Yep.
The defenders are coming through as well. We haven't even seen Buslinger yet. He's been performing well in the VFL.
Yep.
So I would expect him to be decent next year. And Rory Lobb, which I thought was a disaster trade, is turning out to be okay as well.
Yeah.
The defender. So I'm really optimistic about next year, which I wasn't at all at the beginning of this year. So that's good. I'm happy.
We
might even pitch it this year.
Let's not. Yeah, exactly. Let's not start thinking about next year. We don't have to start thinking about next year yet. We're still very much in it for this, isn't it? It's such. We should just really. I know we sort of said this at the start, but it's genuinely flummoxing to me how I'm petrified of missing finals and optimistic about winning a premiership in the same. And that's not just me being a psycho black and white fan. They are both very real scenarios.
Absolutely. Every team's in the same boat, Danny. It's just this year.
There's
no good teams. There are no good teams. Any team can do it.
Well, we're a good team, but yeah, if you were... Yes. I don't think there's anyone else thinking they can win the flag and potentially miss finals. Maybe Hawthorn. I don't think Carlton will be thinking about winning the flag. I don't think... of the teams that can miss... I don't think Freo can win the flag.
Brisbane can miss the finals, yeah.
Can they, Brisbane? Yeah. I've no doubt you've done this on some sort of...
I'm going to be cheering for Essendon this week, even harder than I'm going to be cheering for us. I'm going to be cheering so hard for Essendon.
Do you think Essendon can do it?
Look, Essendon are just that kind of team. They're just that kind of team that after they can't make the finals, they pull off a great victory.
Yeah,
That's exactly what they're like. So we'll see.
We will see. All right. So, and where will you be watching this week?
I'm just at the moment. I'm in American politics hell at the moment. Danny.
Yeah, of course. We should plug Planet America. How often are you guys on at the moment?
We're on twice a week, and I got a podcast. So that's 3 recordings a week.
Wow.
We're on Wednesday and Friday on the ABC, and then I do the Pet podcast as well. And so at the moment, I'm just every other day I'm recording something. So I'm going to be somewhere in some studio somewhere, but it will be on my laptop and I will not be looking away. So whoever's recording with me is just going to have to tolerate it.
All right. Hey, actually, last time we had you on, you said that Trump was going to win the election, but you also said Trump was going to win the election, but the big thing that'll decide this election hasn't happened yet. And I assumed at the time that meant the court case. Like, this is a long time ago. Is that what you were talking about?
No. I wasn't. I didn't have like one thing in mind. What I was saying, what I meant by that was I was saying that when we look back on the election in November, there will have been something that will have happened that hasn't happened yet that will decide it.
And
there are a number of things that could have been the thing. As it turned out, one of them was the debate. The debate decided that phase of the election entirely, and that was one of the things I was thinking about. The debate could make the difference. And it did. It made a difference for Joe Biden. And Trump would have won, but now Joe Biden's gone. Now he's got some problems.
So you think Harris will win?
I want to wait for the debate again.
Okay.
I think the debate is going to be critical. I would say if one person smashes the debate, they will win the election. But if it's like a 50-50 kind of just mess, then I would say at this point in time, I reckon Kamala Harris is just ahead.
All right. And don't forget, in a couple of years, she will be known as Kamala Lake. She'll change her name back to her and she'll go to Hawthorn, win a Norm Smith.
I like it, Danny. I like
it. It's very not very many people I can do a American politics Bulldogs defenders joke. Well, mate, thank you for coming on. Oh, I should point out, that's the other thing I want to say. VFL, we came second, Footscray. Yes. So that is locked in a home final, which I have been told will be at Whitten Oval.
Oh, fantastic.
Finals football at Whitten Oval. That has never happened in my life for men. I've seen the AFLW play there, but that is so exciting. We don't know the fixture as such yet. In fact, actually, I'm just going to Google that now because that is that's something that we need to know. So Phil, Chaz, give us a plug. When can we listen to Planet America or things like that?
Sure. Okay. Well, Planet America is on Wednesday nights at 9:30 on ABC TV and on Friday nights at 8 o'clock on ABC News. And the PEP podcast is PEP with Chaz and Dr. Dave, which you can find in all the usual pod places where you also find Danny Boy.
All right. So it is looking like they have actually done the fixture and the results. So the finals will... Oh, no. Sorry. Yep. We don't know the finals because we came second. We got the week off. They're doing a wild card round. Okay. So you got Gold Coast versus Frankston at Carrara and Williamstown v Richmond down at that freezing stadium. So we don't know that yet, but... man, it'd be awesome. I really hope they don't clash that with the Bulldogs finals if we make it. Have you now, Chaz? You've also, before we finish, you've worked in broadcasting for a long time. I don't know if you've ever done radio and had to do weird interviews with people for any good luck charms or whatnot. But anything we can do for good luck this week? Do you believe in any of that nonsense?
I'm not really a good luck kind of person. I that's not really the way I roll. But I can't even imagine what I would do from a superstitious point of view. I'm sorry, I can't give you a good answer at all for that one.
No, okay, I've got one. Okay, so a lot of people might know, I might have told this story on there. Mid 2016, January, it was July, I believe 2nd, 2016. You'd remember this, Chaz, because it was a federal election day. It was Turnbull versus Shorten, and the Dogs were playing the Swans.
They were. I remember that game.
And me and my mate Shane, the firefighter, who I watch a lot of games with, we were at the Rose Hotel where we always used to drink. And we weren't convincing in that first half, the Dogs, at all. And the Rose had just been renovated, didn't feel the same as the pub we used to. Let's go, hey, maybe this is a bad luck pub. Let's go to another pub. We went around the corner to a place called the Gasometer. And weirdly that day, any time Shane or I went to the toilet, Bulldogs got a goal. So... in the dying seconds, when Bont got that mark, Shane just went, I'm going to the toilet. He didn't need to go. He just knew that he needed to take it for the team. So he went and hid in the toilet. He didn't even know Bont passed it to JJ. JJ then kicks the winner. He hears the cheer, comes out cheering. We go, sweet, we love this pub. We can't use this pub until it's really needed. So... 2016 prelim, when I couldn't go up to Sydney because my wife was due to give birth any day, I went to the Gasometer, and I never went there until then, and then famously we won that. So whatever pub, if you're not going to Ballarat, whatever pub or friend's house or room of your house you watched the last game, the last time we played GWS, go back there, because that is flawless scientific logic.
Okay, so we're talking the last time we played GWS, not the last time, not round 22 last year.
No. Although I will be...
do the opposite of what you did in round 22 last year.
I'm sorry, I have to be in the same place because I'll be working at Have You Been Paying Attention? I'm going to be in the same studio. But I might just walk through the Peacock Hotel in Northcote, which is where I watched the last time we beat them. I'm not going to drink before I go to work, but I might just walk in and bless myself and touch the carpet or something.
Please do, Danny. It depends on you, mate. We're all relying on you.
Damn straight. Well, we will be back next week with a Patreon episode, and by the way, something coming out on my YouTube pretty much as like 5 minutes ago, Chaz. A video that you're really going to love. The worst 5 Brisbane Lions losses. Up on my YouTube channel.
There.
Please do like and subscribe. And that's something I've been doing for all year, talking to prominent fans about their favourite wins and losses. So if you're interested in footy and other teams, of course I did the Bulldogs one, and I didn't do the worst losses because we've never lost and I'm a sore loser. But please have a look and send them to your friends because I'm so close to monetising my YouTube. So that would be great if all the Danny Boyd fans could do that. Chaz, thanks for coming. We will probably get you on again before Boydie comes back. Unless you're guts deep in American politics, but I think you'll come out because this is more important.
Doggies first, mate, every time.
Go Dogs!
I gave my childhood to that role of the red, white and blue sea, and the knowledge that you had to love the Bulldog boys and me. 20 years on, I feel that longing hanging in September air. But the reason I go every week is to pretend you're still there. And they will find the glory one day, and I will throw it at your feet. It's a long, long road they're running for you, the dogs of Footscray streets. It's a long, long road they're running for you, the dogs of Footscray streets.